us once again make clear that which most do not seem to understand. This podcast is marked as explicit, not because it offers a mature look into the world of topics not meant for the young or immature, but because it mucks about in very appalling, gormless, and tasteless filth whilst reveling in it. Cinema Psyops aims to drag you down into the very same muck, filled with sexual deviancy and decayed morality. Cinema Psyops. They heap weekly praise on such filth while discussing the most base and animalistic urges, reviewing the lowest common denominator of low-grade trash ever considered film. When you look at the state of the world around you and you realize how little time you have left to be happy, do you really want to waste that time you have left listening to Cinema Psyops?
Absorbed in it. It is a driving force. You have to have it. I hate it so much that I've seen if it's done to the camera and personal level. And I want to see it banned. I want to see it off the face of the earth.
Yeah, it's amazing, but I think parents have to really pay more attention to what these kids are listening to.
Cancer in children? What's that about? How dare you? How dare you create a world in which there is such a... It's not right. Why should I respect the capricious, mean-minded, stupid God who created a world which is so full of injustice and pain? Because the God who created this universe, if he was created by God, is quite clearly a maniac. Utter maniac. Totally selfish. Make them blind. Why did you do that to us? Who had a God to do that? A maniac. We could easily have made a creation which doesn't exist. It is simply not acceptable. Cinema Psyops.
I want to see it banned. I want to see it off the face of the earth.
Welcome to the 371st consecutive week of Cinema Psyops. I'm your host, Court, a guy that's fresh from a breakthrough infection of COVID, and the very first one he's gotten. And joining me all the way across the city of Omaha in his makeshift studio just above the bunker is my co-host, Matt.
The bunker flooded.
Yeah, so not so much of a bunker, more as a death trap at this point.
Yeah, at this point, yeah. I am in my bedroom and in this makeshift new life that we're living right now.
The bunker flooded, and now you have an indoor swimming pool where your little bar area used to be.
Yeah. I ride with somebody when I go into work every morning. As I was waiting for him, the house is silent. I kept hearing a drip, and at first I thought, somebody left the shower on or didn't shut it off all the way. No, that wasn't the case. And then the pit fell in my stomach, and I heard was like, is it downstairs? Walked down, and sure enough, the carpet, and it was just like it just kept dripping, but like the ceiling had grown a bubble where there was obviously a ton of water. And the minute you walked on the carpet, you heard sop. So it must have been dripping all night, and I just didn't hear it. And so as of now, everything's kind of just jumbled away from it. We cut a hole in the ceiling, drained out all the water, and now just waiting to fix all that and dry out the carpet, and we're probably going to have to peel the carpet back to dry out the pad that's underneath it. So lots of good times happening.
Jesus wept. Yeah, and so last weekend I went to a concert and did some stuff with the wife, and I picked up a breakthrough infection of COVID. My very first one, BA5, got me. It took that long, but BA5 finally got me.
Jesus. Yeah, man. Almost 3 years into this shit, they got you. Sorry about that.
Well, it could have been a lot worse, knock on wood. I had very, very mild symptoms, and it really only lasted about 7 days from exposure, because BA5 moves quick. It's like it sets in 3 days. I had an immune response, and my system was fighting it on Monday. I had like stuffy nose and wasn't feeling so great, and a bit of a sore throat. And I just assumed that it was because the Airbnb that we stayed at that weekend was coated in dust, that it just killed my sinuses, and I got a sinus infection. That happens to me, and that's what it felt like. And then as the week went on, and it didn't get better and it didn't improve, we had a family dinner we were going to do, and I did a test just to make sure, because I was like, you know what, I want to be safe. And then the next thing I know, it comes back positive for COVID, and I'm like, holy shit, my very first COVID infection. And
holy shit.
Yeah, by then I was actually already feeling better. I actually felt great. I just wanted to make sure that I wasn't COVID positive, because, I don't want to be giving that to anybody that we're going to go see, for a dinner or whatever.
Yeah.
And I was just like,
that's why you get your vaccinations, kids, because that helps limit the amount that, when you get COVID, it helps limit the impact it has on you.
Yeah, literally everything that they said that you could expect for someone who was vaxxed and properly boosted for a breakthrough BA5 infection is what happened to me. It was 7 days from the exposure, and I was feeling better. Like that was this Friday.
How many boosters do you got?
Right now, I only got one.
Yeah, same here. I've got the 2 vaccination shots and 1 booster, so that's where I'm at too.
When I was thinking about getting the second booster is when they announced that they were doing the variant-specific one that's out now, and they were waiting for approval, so I decided just to wait. And now I gotta wait about 3 months before I get it because of this breakthrough infection. That'll give me the best immunity and best
you kind of helped you already because you're kind of immune to that variant at least. So
for a little bit, for a little bit,
but still, I mean, hey, a little bit's better than not at all.
That's true. And like I said, the last time when Bev got it, she had a breakthrough infection right after we got our boosters. So whatever version of that she got was probably an Omicron as well. This time around, I got it and she didn't show any symptoms at all.
No, that's hilarious.
Yeah, well, she's feeling a little rough today, but we don't know if that's because she was partying too hardy this weekend or not. We're just being extra cautious, and we're going to keep her away from people. She continues to test negative. So
that's what I keep hearing as well. So that's good though.
You're right. I mean,
it's been a hell of a week.
Yeah, it really has. Like, it was really rough trying to get my shit together and work this whole week, and now at least I have an excuse. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
So, like, my brain not functioning at its best is probably because of the COVID brain, and I'm going to be able to deal with that for a little while. And I've had some brain fog going on. I've definitely experienced that. So that's not great. Trying to think I couldn't even think of Robin Williams' name. The other night I was trying to, I could picture his face. I could think of every movie that he was in, and I couldn't think of the name Robin Williams when I was talking to my wife, trying to, use him as an example for a discussion we were having for comedians who do dramatic turns really well.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's bad.
Yeah. Like I said, I pictured his face. I pictured every movie he was in, but I could not come up with the name Robin Williams. It just was not there for me. My brain was like, no, you don't know this guy's name.
Yeah, you don't know it. Sorry, but you'll luck.
Right. We were talking about the new Steve Carell series, Patient, and I was saying about how I knew that comedians could do dramatic turns and be really good, and they could even be creepy because of Robin Williams, but I couldn't get there to say that.
Ouch.
Yeah, that one hurt, man. That one was a little difficult to try and deal with. Speaking of things that are hurtful and hard to deal with, let's talk about this week's movie, Dr. Jekyll's Dungeon of Death. All right.
Dungeon of Death.
For the next couple of weeks, we're going to have some blind buy movies, folks, where Court got these either in a package or it was on sale to a alarming degree, either at Vinegar Syndrome or Severin Films, one of the two. So it was either a package deal in one of the two, or it was on sale and super cheap, so I decided to get it. And this is one of them. I knew nothing about Dr. Jekyll's Dungeon of Death. I just was like, hey, that title sounds ridiculous. This should be fun.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it was part of
a good time.
Yeah, I don't know, again, if it was part of a package or if it was just that it was super cheap and on sale, so I went for it. And turns out that everything that I thought it was going to be is not what it was. Everything the poster promises that it's going to be is not what it is. And it's kind of like a neutered blood-sucking freaks, is what this film is.
Good times.
Yeah, so I'm not even going to try and do music befitting of this week. I'm just going to pick out some fucking songs that maybe I'll find some Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde shit and play it. Maybe not for Pirate Radio Edit. We'll see. I'll put the list in the group like I always fucking do. I just don't feel like going ahead with it this week. Because not only did Matt's basement fucking flood, but I fought off COVID for the entire week and I'm still here to do the show for you folks.
Yeah. By the way, no clips this week because I just don't have an area to do any of that with. So.
Well, I mean, like, come on, man. This is the movie to skip all the fucking clips with, too. I mean, the dialogue,
right?
The dialogue in this, like, if we played the dialogue in this, you would F5 out of this fucking show hardcore.
Yeah, you would get the hell out of here.
you would be like Alt F3 and escape altogether or whatever.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. All of that. Control, Alt, Delete, and Task.
Yeah. You would do what you had to just to get this to stop.
Shut down. You have programs open. Do you want to? Don't care. Shut down.
See, the coders out there got my F5 out of here reference. And some of the techie guys are getting our Alt and escape. Meanwhile, normal audience folks that don't care about key commands or escape commands on your keyboard are like, what the fuck are these two assholes babbling about besides COVID and flooded basements?
I thought this was Cinema Psyops, not Computer Boy Psyops.
Not Cinema IT, or not IT Psyops.
IT Ops or something.
Oh, fuck it. Let's just take the break here. We're going to play the little intro from Kevin, which now has the Steam giveaways added back in because apparently that's still happening once a month every now and then, I guess, or something. He's still giving them away. As long as he's giving them away, I'm going to leave that in there. And we'll have the Patreon out, and when we come back, we'll have, I don't know, some bullshit about Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde song of some sort somewhere.
Hey everyone, this is Kevin. As many of you probably have heard, Bo will be heading back to school to become a teacher. Congratulations, Bo. As such, I'll be taking over the reins, managing and spreading the good word of Legion Podcast. To kickstart things off, as an added thank you for patrons, Legion plans to have Steam code giveaways for current Patreon backers. A random person will be picked from the Patreon, and the winners can choose from the available Steam codes. Thank you so much for supporting Legion Podcast. You can reach me on Twitter or the Legion Discord group. My username is @LonelyBob. See you around.
This'll keep you quiet. Oh, hi there. I didn't see you. You call me cutting a new show. I'm Bo Ransdell, and I'm one of the many creators you can find on Legion Podcasts. I said quiet! My fellow podcasters and I work hard to bring you the best in horror podcasting, but that comes at a cost.
Wouldst thou like to live deliciously?
Not that, but also yes. No, what I'm getting at is that there are server costs, costs for good microphones and software for editing, all the things that make our shows, fun to listen to. And you can help. If you're enjoying the shows on legionpodcasts.com or in the Legion Network available on iTunes and Stitcher, just about anywhere you can download a podcast, really, you can help us out and get a little something for your trouble at patreon.com/Legion Podcasts. For just $2 a month, you get a pair of movie commentaries exclusive to Patreon, and for $5, you can also join us for a monthly screening of a movie. All of that available on patreon.com/Legion Podcasts. We appreciate it, and thank you for listening. Now, back to the cutting room.
right, so I'm just going to assume that I played the damned song about Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, because that's actually a song that they have that I know that exists. So I'm assuming that I played that here, and then
Is that what we're assuming now, huh?
Yeah.
You know what happens when you assume?
Well, I have the MP3 file somewhere, so I can play that here if I want to. So future court, don't fuck over court from the past, please.
Yeah, don't make future court, don't make past court look like a liar.
You're really good at doing that, future court, by the way.
Yeah. By the way, you really, future court really makes past court look like a jackass on the reg.
And future court's really looking at past court, wondering what the fuck he was thinking when we're going to cover Dr. Jekyll's Dungeon of Death.
Yes, Dr. Jekyll's Dungeon of Death. The first 20 minutes starts with the guy watching a film with two dudes fighting. Not homoerotic at all.
I found it extremely homoerotic in ways that I was ready to deal with.
Yeah. So anyway, we throw in an inner monologue here. We find out this is the great-grandson of the Dr. Jekyll. He's working on a serum, the serum that his great-grandfather had created, but he's working on improving it, and so he kidnaps folks and injects it with him and watch them fight. We find there's a tied-up girl, and believe it or not, a lot of this movie, where you would call it filler, is fight scenes, and they're actually pretty good.
Yeah, the best part of this movie is its filler, which is not a good sign for it at all.
Yeah, no, the where all the talent went was into the filler moments of fighting. So if you're into like some hand-to-hand combat, this shit will take you there. The people who did the fighting really worked on it really hard.
That's the whole of this film. It's like a kung fu / martial arts exhibition
/ horror movie.
Yeah, which is wrapped in a story of a guy who likes to rape a lot.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Anyway, so we see a tied-up girl in his room. When he's writing down his notes at his journal, there's a girl tied up on his wall. Her name's Julia, apparently. He tells her that her dad is coming, and then he can have his revenge, and then he proceeds to molest Julia until she screams and passes out.
Yeah, not comfortable movie. Thanks. Fuck off.
Yeah, not a very comfortable thing to do to us. Well, her dad gets there, and he's under the belief that Julia is dead. At least that's what Dr. Jekyll has told him. Then we meet Dr. Jekyll's sister, and she has crazy eyes. Big time. And we find out why is because as they are talking to one another having a drink, we see that Julia was lobotomized. Dr. Jekyll talks about his work on the serum because apparently this guy, Julia's father, the professor, was his teacher. And he said he actually helped. He goes, number one, the first thing he did was he found a way to improve livestock to produce like 30% more consumable meat. But he goes, the only problem is the things I did caused a horrific problem in that they won't mate. So that's what he's trying to use the serum for, and he wants the professor's help. So anyway, the professor's like, yeah, but I really want to see my daughter's body, because he's like, this has gotten really confusing. And Dr. Jekyll's like, later, why don't you go to bed? You need to sleep. So he goes to bed, and then we see the doctor's like talking about when he's like, where's Boris? Where's Boris? Well, we see his servant Boris get up, and he shows up with 2 kidnapped women. He goes to experiment to see if women, and this is something I even mentioned because the 2 men who were fighting at the beginning of the movie were 2 people of color. And he even said the serum, they are less aggressive even with the serum than their white counterparts, which he found weird because he would have thought the people of color, because of their past, would have more anger in them. So now he wants to test to see what happens to women. So
this entire whole diatribe and the sciencey stuff that's behind this, and the unbelievable coincidence that this Dr. Jekyll is like relying upon to make all of this stuff happen and work, just seems really convoluted even at this point, and we have to kind of talk about it and mention it, even though we're not at the 20 minutes yet. Like, you have to really, really mash an I believe button to go along with anything that's in this story at all.
So much.
Yeah.
So much.
There's no division between the people people fighting and the people that are doing the test subject. And given that information that we find out later about how this serum works, the more we kind of have to call bullshit on how this has continued to be successful without a lot of serious errors and shit. Like,
yeah,
you got to talk about it now. Like, this just rings so false and so hollow and so dumb.
So just pseudo science talk. That's all this is.
And like, it feels like it's trying to do this sort of progressive moment here when he's talking about the people of color seem to be even less aggressive and violent. And that's not what he would expect, considering the history of mistreatment to the people. And, you know, it's like he's like acknowledging, yes, this is wrong. And yes, I'm experimenting on black people clip. And, and like, I'm finding that they're better at controlling their anger than white people because they have to be. This is a whole bunch of duh.
Yeah, exactly.
I just have to state that right now. I know we're not at the 20 minutes, but like at this point, I'm yelling bullshit at my screen like at 7 a.m. when I'm watching this.
First of all, he's a rapist and he's a racist from all it seems. So Jesus.
Yeah, we can move on now. I just needed to get that out and vent because fuck.
Yeah. So then, yeah, like I said, he's going to see if the women have more repressed anger than anybody. We see he goes next to his sister, starts trying to kiss her. She bites him. He's like, you know, you're just like mom. He has mommy and sister issues because he's like, you're just like mother. You make me watch you just like mother did. And you're just like, okay, this guy has a lot of things happening to him. Yeah,
that was pretty gross. The way that they were trying to do that. Ordinarily, incest in movies I'm okay with, but that was gross.
This is such a weird statement for to make. What was that? What do you mean, what?
Ordinarily, incest in movies does not bother me, but the way that they did it here, it was just for shock value and effect. It wasn't trying to bring about any kind of statement or deepen the character in any way, shape, or form. It's just for shock value, and that's why it bugs me.
All right, weirdo. So anyway, the ladies have their fight scene. Again, this is a fabulous fight scene. Really well done. I'm saying every fight scene's almost like 5 minutes long.
Yeah, we need to mention it now. Every fight scene is literally all of the black belts in the area of San Francisco. They got them all together, and it was choreographed by like not necessarily their specific sensei, but like someone that was also really high up in the martial arts scene in San Francisco. So essentially, this movie is the Hill Valley Tournament with sadism, rapist mentality, racism, and Dr. Jekyll wrapped around it.
Yeah, it couldn't have been all the black belts, though, because I didn't even see one crane kick. So, and we all know the masters do the crane kick.
If do right, no can defense.
Yes, right. Right as it looks like one woman is really about ready to kill the other one, they break it up, and like one of his bodyguards guys goes and knocks them both out. That's the end of that 20 minutes, the first 20 minutes. So the opening 20 minutes, though, I'll say it is actually very action-packed and exciting. It's not a slow burn. It's, right away you know that this guy's a dirtbag, and, we're fighting people. So it's like he's making his own fight club.
Yeah, if this was a 70-minute-ish movie, I think it probably could have been carried on the fight scenes alone. Because they are entertaining, and they are the highlight of the film. And literally, when they're not happening, you miss them and want them back.
Yeah, right? Yeah. When the fight scenes go away, you don't enjoy the movie as much.
Yeah, when the fight scenes go away, also do our enjoyment of the film.
Yeah, when the fight scenes are happening, everything's great. When the fight scenes go away, you realize you're watching Dr. Jekyll in the Dungeon of Death.
And basically the Dungeon of Death is just Dr. Jekyll rapes a lady over and over again upon doing this gross dialogue, telling her how she has to take him. And then when she fights him off, he drugs her just so he can have his way with her. That's literally everything else that's not the martial arts in the movie.
Yeah, right. All right, well.
We could get out of here in like 10 minutes with this movie if we really wanted to.
If we really wanted to, I could be done with this review. Yeah, you're right. In the next like 15 minutes.
Instead, we're going to sit here and bitch about it for like ever because it's the only way we can vent our frustrations in life.
It's everyone sucks and then you die. There you go. Movie's done. Anyway, let's talk. Next 20 minutes start. So Jekyll, he catches Boris comforting Julia. Who seems to be having problems, so he does the only thing he can do, and he whips Boris. Then the next day, Jekyll and the professor, they get together. And it turns out, when Boris is serving them drinks, the professor recognizes him. Boris was, like, top student at the school the year Jekyll got kicked out of the school. And Jekyll says, well, we were working together. We got into a car wreck. And this is what happened to him, so I keep him on as a servant. And
he also blames him. He blames him. Like, he says that
said he was drinking too much and then got in the car wreck.
Yeah, like it's his fault, but Jekyll came out unscathed, but he was severely injured, and now he keeps him as a manservant.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So then, then he has them watch a video of one of the fights that they took. And the professor is appalled. This is a weird scene, because while the fight looks good, like Jekyll's talking about the science behind this while the professor's talking at the same time about how appalling it is. And you're just like, I can't pay attention to any one fucking word you said. If I could have done clips, I'd have clipped that just to confuse everyone else, because if I had to listen to it, so do all of you. But, you should all count yourselves lucky. Everything in life is falling apart. So then the professor, he states he's going to go to bed. He's like, I can't really deal with any of this. But he goes, I need to think. So I'm going to go to my room to think, but we're going to talk about my thoughts at great length. And he goes to bed. And so this makes Jekyll really angry. So he terrorizes Julia some more, yelling at her and, makes her scream. And this makes the professor wake up and kind of checks around the house, and he goes up to Jekyll's room, but Jekyll says, no, everything's fine. He sends him away, and that's the end of that 20 minutes. So, like I said, you go through this real quick when most of this movie's fight scenes. But yeah, so there you go.
Yeah, so Jekyll is very possessive, and it's clear that he has been killing rivals and or turning them into mindless drone zombies that he can use and torture at his will.
Yeah.
And essentially what it's saying is that the Jekyll family were always sadistic, twisted fucks. Even without the serum just somehow made them worse. And that is the complete opposite of how the Jekyll and Hyde story actually works, if you've ever actually read it.
Yeah, like Dr. Jekyll was not an evil man, but he, tested the serum and he becomes an evil man.
Yeah, he turns into a completely different person with the serum. That's where Hyde comes from.
Yeah.
Hyde has his own personality.
Dr. Jekyll's
in life.
Supposed to be a good person.
For the most part, yeah. The only thing that he ever really did wrong was make the serum and then not atone for the things that Hyde does.
And at least, though, he tested it on himself instead of some human subject he kidnaps.
Right. This is your typical late 60s style horror film in the exploitation market without any of the exploitation. Other than the guy getting greasy and rapey on just about every female that's in sight at any point in time, including his own sister, and then talking about how he had machinations to want to bang his own mom. Other than that, the exploitation is almost completely removed from this film. Okay, we need to kind of discuss this. The director of the film, this is his only film that he ever made that wasn't X-rated. He made two other films that were both pornographic movies from what I could tell from the titles, right?
Jesus. Yeah.
And then the writer of the film, who took the idea from the director of the film, is also the main actor who plays Dr. Jekyll. Okay. So this feels like a passion project for someone who desperately wants to stop making porn. So much so that they allow all the sleaze in the movie because they're okay with the more adult type themes that are in the sleaze that's in this. But they're really trying hard not to show us any of that sleaze at all.
Yeah.
Because they want to make a legitimate film. That's what this feels like. It's like a sleazemeister's exploitation film attempting to get rid of all of the sleaze.
Yeah. Yeah. They're like, all right, listen, this is going to be exploitation with none of the exploitation.
Yeah, it's literally the plot of blood-sucking freaks for the most part, except for trying to force a woman to dance for your show. But it's the same kind of level of torment and torture and degradation of your fellow human beings for your own amusement and enjoyment. But with all of the levels of sleaze and grossness and just disgust and exploitation just tampered down and neutered to a PG-13. There's nothing about this movie that should be rated R at all, really.
Not really, no.
Some of the overtones of the dialogue and some of the scenes I can see where that would put it into an adult situation, but this is pretty much a PG-13. I think the only reason it got an R is because it was made in 1979.
Probably, yeah, I agree. If it were made today, it'd be a PG-13.
If that, right? You could see this on streaming if you were 12 and your parents probably wouldn't get super upset. They would just be like, wow, that's some gross things they're talking about.
Or it'd just be like, wow, this acting sucks. We're out of here.
Right. I mean, come on, dude. There's some more upsetting and horrible things in the Harry Potter series, besides the fact that J.K. Rowling's a hateful TERF.
Yes. Well, number one, that. But, yeah, listen, you still enjoy magic every now and then.
We can move on. I'm just saying, like, there's nothing to this film at all, and it's trying so hard to be so exploitative and so hardcore with its horror. But like, it just has no teeth. It's like a zombie with no teeth gumming you to death, is what it is.
Everything kind of falls flat in their attempts.
Everything, literally everything falls flat. Everything, except for the martial arts. The martial arts are the only thing that's good.
The fight scenes are the only thing to watch in this whole entire movie.
Yeah, because they're actually really well filmed and really well executed. I was just like,
when I saw there was going to be fight, like when it began to fight, I'm like, oh, this is going to be terrible. And then all the fight scenes are great. It's everything else that sucks.
Yeah, that's the one thing this film does well, is it tricks you into thinking the fight scenes are going to be awful, and yet you long for them when they're not there.
Exactly. Yeah, very true.
We can move on. I don't care if this is even shorter than Killer Croc 2.
With the way this week's been going, I mean, we're lucky we're getting a show out at all. Let's be honest here.
Yeah, that's true.
So anyway, the next 20 starts out. The next day, the professor, he's reading the paper, and it's about the kidnappings, and the Jekyll comes in because he knows he doesn't want to read about that. He goes, I don't allow this filth in my house. It's a fucking daily newspaper. It sounds like your fucking heavy conservative father. All you're doing is read the New York Times. He's like, no, fuck that shit. You can only watch Fox News or Newsmax.
Yeah, he's magging it.
Yep. The professor then claims he heard a scream last night, and Jekyll said it must have been a nightmare, and he goes, I can give you a sedative that'll help you sleep, and the professor's like, no, that's okay. It must have been a nightmare.
Oh, that's another thing this film does really well. Shots of people being injected are like all through this film and really realistic and believable.
And I'll tell you one thing, that actually triggers me because I hate that shit.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of watching people get injected with shit either, and that definitely was working because it was grody and it felt real.
Real gross. I mean, people, like, they inject them in, like, the goddamn neck and shit.
Yeah, there's a couple of shots of, like, right into the neck veins. You're hoping that it's fake and that somehow they're tricking your eye because otherwise people are getting stuck for no reason for this movie.
Yeah, right. Jekyll states that he really wants the professor to work with him, to help him. And the professor's like, he refuses to do so. It states, listen, I'm going to head back to my room, but I want to see my daughter's body tomorrow morning. And then he storms out. And this pisses Jekyll off, and then he asks his sister to go ahead and give him some brandy with ice. As she pours the brandy, he grabs the glass before she can do anything else and notices, hey, there's no ice. And so he goes, look, ice. And he starts stabbing the ice with the ice pick, going crazy, and then stabs her in the arm with the ice pick, because he's an abusive prick. That night, while he's molesting Julia in front of Boris and his sister, Julia screams. The professor hears that, goes into the room, and finds them all together. Boris grabs him, and they knock him out by injecting him with something. Later on, he's forced to watch a lady injected with the serum versus a guy without, in a fight scene. And this is another great fight scene. I mean, this one's really good, and this one's really long.
Yeah, they literally, the entirety of the fight scene is literally like the professor telling Jekyll they're going to kill each other, stop it.
Yeah, stop it.
And then Jekyll going, that's the point, they're going to beat each other to death and we're going to see if she wins or not. This is part of the experiment, deal with it. No, they're going to kill each other. Yes, that's the point. No, they're going to kill each other. Yes, that's the point. And you just want to watch them kill each other because at least that's interesting.
The fight. If you guys could maybe just leave it alone.
Yeah, if you could stop cutting to you two arguing and just let me enjoy this lady killing this dude, that'd be great.
Yeah. And that's exactly what happens. The lady kills the dude, then starts biting his neck. Then she attacks Jekyll, and one of the bodyguards shoots her dead. And that's when Jekyll says, this is the problem, Professor. This is why I need your help. They, once injected the serum, they don't stop killing. They can't stop unless you put them down. So that's why he needs his help. And the professor still says he won't do it, and that's when Jekyll says, listen, if you won't do it, then I'm going to inject Julia, and I'm going to force you to watch her fight somebody after she's been injected. Then she'll have to die. And then, so the professor's like, you're a monster, and he's like, yeah, whatever. And he injects him and sends him away, and he tells Boris, all right, take the professor out of here, because the professor's knocked out, and then clean up. Boris starts cleaning up. This pisses off the professor because it's the wrong order, so he burns him with his cigarette. And that's the end of that 20 minutes before we go into the final.
If only watching this movie went as fast as reviewing it is going.
Yeah, right. Oh my God, the final 30. Although the final 30 is going to be a little more jam-packed. There's a lot of stuff that happens in the final 30 minutes here.
Yeah. Well, there's a thing in the dialogue where the professor talks about how he won't help him do this hell or something like that, or won't live through this hell. And then that's when the Dr. Jekyll does the whole thing about, well, you don't know what hell is. I can show you hell. I can make you watch your own daughter fight to the death, and be this raving maniac by injecting her with the serum. Yeah. And then the sister is very clearly upset after being stabbed in the arm with the ice pick all the way up to the hilt for not getting ice in his drink like he liked. And so now she's got some kind of weird machination and plan going on, and she's lurking in the background, like acting real sus about stuff. The main helper guy, whatever his fucking name is, COVID brain won't let me remember. Boris. Yeah, of course it's fucking Boris. It would have to be Boris.
Yeah.
It has to be Boris. But Boris is like also working against the main guy here, Dr. Jekyll, in the background, and he's got a thing for Julia, or whatever the fuck her name is, and he's trying to like get her free or visit her as much as possible. And the more he gets beaten and tortured for doing that, the more he goes to try and find her throughout the film. And the film is not subtle about doing this, nor is it careful about when it does this stuff, so you kind of forget the plot points as they're going on. Like you have to sort of remember, oh yeah, that's right, Boris kind of has a thing for her, because they don't bring that back for like another 40 minutes after they first establish it.
That is true.
I'm bringing it up now because the last 30 minutes, there's a bunch of stuff that's not going to make any sense at all because we've kind of skipped over it because the movie didn't really flesh it out, although it hinted at some of this stuff.
It hinted at stuff, but yeah, like you're under the belief when all this started, all of them worked together for the science, and I'm really under the belief that Jekyll fell in love with Julia, but I think Julia and Boris were actually dating, and that made him jealous, and he, became obsessed, and so he probably destroyed Boris's brain and then kidnapped Julia.
Yeah, he lobotomized Boris in some way, shape, or form. He probably lobotomized his own sister because, like, he couldn't get her to stop fighting when he was trying to attack her.
He even says he lobotomized her. Later on in the final 30, he even talks about how he did that.
Yeah. So it's clear that, like, he's making his own, like, monsters and stuff like that. Have the police even shown up yet to question the doctor yet? Or that's the last half hour?
No, that's coming up. Yeah,
it all jumbles together in a big mess of bullshit, basically.
It really does.
We can move on. I'm good. I don't give a fuck anymore.
All right, final 30. Here we go. That should be the new tagline for this season of Cinema Science. Just don't give a fuck anymore.
Yeah, let's move on. I just don't even give a fuck.
Let's move on. I just don't give a fuck. Anyway, Professor, he agrees. Professor gets visited by Jekyll the next day. He's shackled, and he agrees to help Jekyll to save Julia. Jekyll then goes to Julia and he's like, your dad's here, all that, and he's like, you know what I want from you? And she's like, well, what do you want me to say? What do you want? Just don't hurt him. And he's like, just tell me you love me and to save him. So she does. And he still is all molesty on her.
He basically is raping her and telling her that she has to tell him she loves him. He has to tell him that she wants him and that she likes what he's doing. And it's heavily implied that he is raping her while he is doing this. Yeah.
And then later on, as the sister comes over to give the professor some food, he gives her a note and says, "Your only hope, get this to a police officer." As she's leaving, of course, Jekyll finds it. He beats her for saying that she was going to turn on him, and then pours boiling water on her. And the beating scene went on forever. And it was because he was whipping her on a kitchen floor. It just went on forever.
It was
terrible.
Yeah. It was pretty brutal, and at the same time, not well done because it wasn't believable. Had it been delivered better, it would have been almost too much to bear because of how long it went on, but it was so ineptly shot and executed by him acting like that he just doesn't feel like a brutal, savage-y kind of person that would do such a thing. He just seems like a guy who is overacting, attempting to being sadistic, and doing it on stage kind of hammy, but in front of camera.
Yeah, no, exactly. So later on then, Jekyll produces his mother's ring and asks Julia to marry him, but she just laughs at him because she's probably just out of it, and that pisses him off. Later on then, a cop shows up because, he hears a knock at the door while he's with Julia, and he goes to answer it. And it's a police officer asking, several neighbors hear gunshots in the neighborhood. He goes, I haven't heard that. He goes, well, you've heard about the disappearances. Have you seen this person? It's a perfect drawing of Boris. And he's like, no, I don't know. I don't know anything about any of this. And As all this is happening, upstairs, the sister, she grabs a syringe and she's pretty much going to go and kill Julia. She's going to inject her in the neck. Boris, however, stops her, then wraps a chain around her neck and then hangs her by a chain. So the sister is now dead due to Boris, and he's like getting ready to free Julia. Anyway, then Boris is called, so he has to go to see what Jekyll needs. But as he leaves the knife on the bed with Julia, and she grabs it. Well, we're gonna about have another fight scene. Now the professor, it's even funny, he's still like shackled to the chair. Jekyll put him in a lab coat because, I mean, come on, protocol has to be followed, right?
Yeah, if you're gonna be a doctor, you need a lab coat.
Yeah, and it's another man versus woman, and this time Jekyll thinks he has the serum right. So we see this fight. During the whole fight scene, we see Julia's walking through the house and everything. Anyway, as the man gets the woman down, though, starts killing her, and the guard shoots the man, but it takes like 3 shots, and the man still knocks the guard out before he dies. And this is a failure. And Jekyll's like, well, I'll just keep working. You know, I'll find it. And Professor's like, you know, I'm not going to help you. I'm not scared of you, and I'm not going to help you. We see Julia walking into the room. Jekyll goes, oh, you're not scared of me? How about this? And shoots the dad in the head. This causes Julia to freak, and she slashes Jekyll's face with the knife, but he's able to grab her. As he's attacking her, Boris runs, and he grabs a syringe. He's going to attack. Jekyll shoots Boris until he runs out of bullets, and Boris is still going. So last, with Boris's dying breath, he injects Jekyll with the serum. Jekyll kind of goes crazy. He starts attacking the dad, who's already dead, and then he sees Julia moving, so he attacks her, killing her. And then he kind of passes out. Well, he wakes up and he's like, hey, I figured it out. You know, I figured it. I'm fine now. I don't want to murder. So I must have figured it out. And then he starts like, Professor, don't you understand? I figured it out, talking to the professor's dead body. All the while this is happening, the police show back up, probably because of the numerous gunshots. As the police start going through the house, we get different views of the house, and Jekyll, oh, I was right. I win. Roll credits.
Yeah, that's literally the whole of it, man. There's not much to this film at all. It's just loosely based plot.
You maybe talk about subtext if they would have kept any one subtext to talk about. They jump from, maybe a side story of how racist Jekyll is to then maybe a side story about misogynistic Jekyll is. But no, they pick it up and then they leave it behind to go to something else. There's nothing they stick with for subtext long enough to even talk about.
And the text isn't even really like described or taken care of in very much of it. It's very loosely based plot to do any delivery for the story at all. It feels like a porn, right? Like without any porn. It's like a porn without all the sex. Like it's just all the sex is cut out. Or
there's no real, exactly. You're right.
Or an exploitation gore flick with all the gore removed.
Yeah. No gore. Everything, it's an exploitation film without any of the exploitation.
Yeah, it's all of its teeth have been removed. It's a zombie gumming you to death.
Exactly, right? Yeah. It's a zombie apocalypse, but when the zombies are resurrected, all their teeth just fall out. So then you have to wonder what they're actually going to do.
Right, all the Sharpie points of any zombie are kind of gone, and they're just like this mushy mouth nothingness.
Yeah, and they're not strong enough to even bring you down. They can't even like raise their arms at you, so you just kind of walk around them. But they're there.
And the smell's still pretty bad. That's what's going on with this film.
Yeah, there you go. Really the only difference in the world is that it just smells like shit.
This is a Vinegar Syndrome release. The packaging is absolutely immaculate and really incredible, and I just don't understand why they gave all of this love to this film and what it is that made it be so special that they decided to release it in such a way. But that's Vinegar Syndrome, though. Like, they just release stuff and you have to question why sometimes.
Yeah. Hey, listen, man. If there's anything I've learned in the years of doing this show is sometimes some movies just get released just cause, you know?
This is somebody out there's favorite movie, though, right? Like somebody out there loves this movie and thinks it's the greatest thing in the world. This is
with the size of the world. Somebody, is out there and just like, this is my favorite cult movie ever.
Yeah, this is essentially a Manos: The Hands of Fate, just done a little bit more adeptly. Like it's almost exactly the same plot line kind of thing.
I don't know if I've ever seen that.
Yeah, or the Curious Case of Dr. Hump, but instead of trying to produce like sexual drive or whatever, he's just producing violence in people, you know?
Yeah. There you go.
At least Curious Case of Dr. Hump had a lot of really great sex scenes and nudity in it, you know?
Yeah, I mean, at least we had something.
Yeah, this has nothing other than some really great kung fu matches that would be worth watching if you really wanted to check out the exhibition of the martial arts. But like, you could see much better martial arts fights nowadays than what you could have in 79.
Yeah, I'm telling you, man, the fight scenes in this are epic.
Yeah, they're actual black belt folks that are fighting with their actual skills. And it doesn't look like they're pulling punches. It looks like they're doing actual exhibition fighting.
Yeah, it really does. It's really great stuff. I'm for it. The fight scenes are good enough that I would suggest people watch them.
This is on Tubi, and I would definitely, or Tubi, or however you want to pronounce that, and I would definitely fast forward it. That, and if you're going to watch the whole entirety of it, just picture Bortus, and anytime Boris is on screen, and you'll be a lot happier.
Yeah, you'll actually chuckle a little bit. And then watch the Orville right after this, because it's a great palate cleanser.
Yeah, and if you haven't seen it all, start with the very first season and wonder where all the drama starts coming in by the second season.
Have fun when you get halfway through the first season and realize, wait, I was promised a slapstick comedy, and now I'm getting all this drama that still works, and I'm still into the show. So where did we transfer over?
That's the thing, is you never really realize when you're there, but as soon as you cross over the line, you're there, you know?
Yep.
It's like when you move from being a casual user to an addict.
Yeah, exactly. What else are you going to do about it?
Oh my goodness, this film, I don't even know, man. Like, I like the packaging, I might keep it for that, but otherwise I don't know if I'm ever going to watch this again.
Yeah, I'm never going to watch it again. That's not happening. There's just, it's not even a good movie to try to riff with your buddies, you know?
Yeah,
just stay out of this.
I would be more apt to watch like a Manos the Hands of Fate again than this, because at least that I know what I'm getting into, and I know, you know, like I'm basically trying to cause myself pain in advance. This movie I would watch if I wanted to try and fall asleep.
Yeah, right. Yeah. just even then, I don't know, man, because then there's a few screams and everything. I just probably won't ever. I have no reason to watch this again.
All right, well, we'll just get out of here a little bit early on this one. We're going to close this one out. I'm going to play a little bit of music here in the background that maybe fits with something having to do with Dr. Jekyll, and maybe it'll be a death dungeon, or maybe it'll just be a song that'll just fill in the gap between now and when we do the PSYOP news. So I guess that song worked. I don't know. I'm going to work about as hard at this song as the movie worked at trying to be coherent and making a good film. So not at all. I think that whole plan that we had the other week about if a movie's good, it gets a good review. If a movie's bad, it gets nothing. Yeah.
I think that's what we're doing it.
Yeah,
we're doing it.
Yeah, we've inadvertently fallen into the pattern of, well, this isn't even worth trying on.
Well, it also, let's face it, lesser podcasts would have just skipped this week. All right, they would have been like, listen, folks, due to numerous circumstances, things aren't going well.
I don't know if it's lesser podcasts, or at least podcasts with people that still kind of, don't have a drive or need to go every single week no matter what. You know? Like if a podcast had the ability to just take a break and not feel bad about it, they would probably have taken a break this week.
Yes, they would have. That's what I'm saying. Yeah,
but that's not us. We have to keep torturing the folks.
We have to keep in ourselves.
And the best way for us to do that right now, besides trying to pad out the episode talking about how bad this episode is turning out, is to do some PSYOP news.
main man, Robert, in the field.
Oh, our main man, Robert.
He must have an incredibly long penis.
Nigerian officials intercept 7,000 smuggled donkey penises at international airport.
Shut up. Are you talking about penises?
That's right. All right. Nigerian officials have intercepted 7,000 donkey penises at international airport after the smell for the packages aroused suspicion.
I'm taking another dick.
The donkey penises were smuggled to Hong Kong in 16 sacks. But, I mean, this story is right in itself. But customs officers at Murtala Muhammad Airport in the Nigerian city of Lagos intercepted the packages.
And we're back to dicks.
It always comes back to dick.
It really does. Sambo Denglia, the customs controller at the airport, told BBC that the animal parts were found in sacks in the animal export section.
Oh, I have a clip of that.
Oh, okay.
And there's a lot of weighing around.
Yeah, sounds like that. Yeah, that's amazing that we got that clip.
Yeah.
He said that a pungent smell was coming from the bags, arousing suspicion among the custom officers who opened the packages to find 7,000 donkey penises. Just like there's somebody who had to count that out.
This is like traces of death fucked to porno.
He also said that the suspect linked to the shipment, which is worth an estimated 200 million naira, which is about 416,000 pounds, managed to escape. So 7,000 donkey penises are worth 416,000 pounds.
In other horse sex news,
the illicit trade of donkey parts, including the animal's penises and skin from Nigeria to China, is common.
This is like traces of death fucked to porno.
The animal parts are used in China to make a traditional medicine called Jekylls. In June, the Nigerian Customs Service said that they had intercepted 3 100-kilogram bags filled with donkey genitalia and 3,712 pieces of donkey skin at an airport. 4 months earlier in March,
might as well grab this guy's dick.
4 months earlier in March, 4 suspects were arrested while they were trying to smuggle 2,754 donkey penises and 3,712 pieces of skin. Jesus Christ, man, a lot of donkeys are losing a lot of penises.
I've lost count, but it seems like a tremendous amount.
Nigeria lost over 6 billion pounds to the illicit trade of smuggling donkey parts to China from 2012 to 2018, officials said. 6 billion pounds!
Worth of donkey junk. Yeah, that's a lot.
It is illegal in Nigeria to kill donkeys for their body parts and smuggle them to foreign countries, but illicit smuggling continues. The Donkey Dealers Association of Nigeria this week urged the Nigerian government to prosecute those who engage in the indiscriminate killing of donkeys and the smuggling of their animal parts outside the country. The charity said that
I have a raging erection.
You just watched taint and ass balls wiggled in and out.
Yeah, right. All right, sorry. The Donkey Dealers Association in Nigeria this week urged the Nigerian government to prosecute those who engage in the indiscriminate killing of donkeys and the smuggling of their animal parts outside the country. The charity said they have invested millions into the breeding of donkeys, but the smugglers are sabotaging their efforts.
So earlier in the movie when we were talking about the incest with Dr. Jekyll and everything, I was remiss in not playing this clip.
We're just trying to prolong the amount of time that happens before we watch this brother and sister fuck.
Yeah, that's all this is.
Really was all that was.
Oh my god, just fucking incest already.
Yeah, right? I mean, Jesus, come on.
If your cousin's super hot, you should be able to fuck one time.
I mean, listen, I just was reading Alabama law on that.
God doesn't see when you do anal.
He really doesn't.
This donkey story is really grim. Like, really grim.
Grim, but kind of funny. I mean, I'm just saying.
And Satan's cock.
I just feel really bad for, like, all of the donkeys being murdered. And you said it was Nigeria is where this is coming from?
Yeah, Nigeria, and they're shipping the stuff off to China. So, who knew Nigeria had such a donkey parts problem?
Who knew that China had such a donkey parts fetish?
Yeah, it needed it for medicine. They need donkey penises for medicine. Like, it makes me weirded out not knowing where our medicine comes from. You know, I think I need to get more, like, intelligent with that and start reading up on where our modern day medicine's coming from.
I'm pretty sure that the donkey penises that are being used for that type of medicine in China are not the kind of medicine that you're taking now.
I really hope not, because if I find out donkey penises are in my ibuprofen, I'm going to be really bummed out.
That's somehow a clip.
That is somehow a clip, yeah. I mean, midway through, I'm like, this is such a clip, but I just gotta finish saying it by now.
It's not the worst thing that you've ever said. I've gotten rid of that for you.
Thank you.
Let's do another story.
And what I said was even worse. It's the way you cut it made it sound worse.
That's true. You were talking, if you're talking about the one that I'm thinking of, you were basically being indictful of our current sitting president and how he was saying that a certain group were actually
the past president. I'm sorry. Not our current sitting president. Well, the president, but he was current at the time.
Yeah, the current sitting president at the time had basically made a reference to how a certain group of people...
Some people were fine people.
Yeah, when they definitely are not. And I've been using that against you ever since.
Ever since.
Until things kept continually getting worse and worse that I took that out.
Yeah. Thank you for that, by the way.
You're welcome. Let's do another news story because we haven't even hit a full fucking hour yet, even with all the padding we're going to be putting in. Yeah.
Good God almighty. All right. This one's from Linaire.
Ah, okay. This might be New Zealand news.
Quote, "We are very sorry. Backlash after nursing home hires strippers for seniors in wheelchairs. They organized a show for the residents, and now they have to apologize after fierce backlash." I've actually seen the video of this.
I think that's going to the spank bank.
I don't know why they should apologize. Those old people were having a fantastic time, if you've seen the video.
Oh, you actually did watch the video?
What? Yeah, I've seen a video clip of it.
My gum has a cure for cancer.
What's wrong with having strippers visit old people? Apparently they really liked it.
That's what I'm saying. They did not a frown of the bunch. I think their families had problems because, they need to suit themselves into their lives. Anyway, a nursing home has been slammed and forced to apologize after they hired strippers to perform for senior citizens in wheelchairs. The Taiwan Veterans Home, a state-run facility for retired Army personnel in Taiwan, paid the adult entertainers for an X-rated show to celebrate the Mid-Autumn Festival. The risque show, which was performed last Thursday, was filmed by an attendee and uploaded to social media. It showed erotic dancers wearing masks and lacy lingerie, with one elderly man receiving a lap dance. I mean, let these people have some fun.
Dude finally gets hard, so now it's time to plow.
With the entertainer's permission, he can be seen touching her body with his hands. Good for him. Good for them.
This is my baby, and I'll drown it in a bathtub if I want to.
Jesus Christ. Rest home nurses can be seen clapping along with the performance. While it appears some of the residents enjoy the dancers, the care facility has been slammed for organizing the show. In a statement, they said the intention of the event was to entertain the residents and make them happy. We're very sorry for the offense it caused. Who was offended?
Yeah, I want to know who was offended.
Because it sounds like all the people there was having a great time. So it probably came from somebody who saw it on social media. You know what? Stop posting shit to social media, people. You're ruining other people's good times, too. And then if you complained about it, you're an asshole. You are definitely if you are somehow listening to the show and you're one of the people who complained about strippers in a nursing home, get fucked. Get fucked right into the bottom of a lake. That's where you belong, because you're a piece of shit.
Wow.
Put your nose in your own fucking business.
Yeah, I can see where if it was residents that didn't want to have this happen and the strippers wouldn't leave them alone, but it looks like everybody that was involved in this little get-together was having a great time, and even the stripper was allowing the guy to touch their body, which is something that can happen at a private show.
It seemed like everyone was on board. Everyone was having a good time. Nobody was having a bad time. Guess who had a bad time? John Q. fucking Public sitting in their fucking basement, seeing social media on their cell phone, go, well, I don't agree with that morally, and then causing a fucking scene.
Yeah, what are you so upset with? That retirement home people can enjoy a little sexual activity with a stripper who is being paid to do such a thing? I mean, sex workers are workers. Let them have their jobs.
Yeah, and let these old people have some fun. I mean, they're on the last leg of this fucking journey. Why can't they have some fun?
Yeah, let them get a couple of titties in their face. They might actually enjoy it, and maybe they'll go out with a smile.
Yeah. Anyway, a spokesperson for the nursing home also said previous Mid-Autumn Festival events had been canceled due to COVID-19. The idea behind the show was to raise the spirits of the residents. Despite this, they admit the entertainers' actions were too enthusiastic, fiery. What? And it's like fucking horseshit. They explained that there was also a milder game of bingo and karaoke. Yeah, okay, Jesus Christ. The dancers all wore masks during the show. Jesus Christ, yeah, it all seems fine. Man, but I mean, really, can people just fucking start minding their own fucking business?
Some residents got some titties in their face, some butts ground up against them, and, they got to remember what it was like to be alive and be happy whenever they fought in a war.
Some butts to crotches, and they felt maybe happy again, maybe alive again for the first time in a long time.
Right.
Somebody has to bitch about it. How dare... Everyone, there's always that one sad sack who's like, God, look at all those people enjoying their lives. Annoys me. I better do something to stop it.
I mean, yeah, I can see where you get really upset at the fact that elderly folks can still enjoy sex because it makes you feel creepy inside, sure. But that's your baggage, not theirs.
Fuck you. Do you deal with that yourself? You don't stop other people's good times.
Exactly.
Jesus Christ. Anyway, that story's done. You want to do another one?
We just barely made it over an hour, so one more and we'll just call it quits.
So, let's see. This one's from Alan.
Chef Al from Halifax, I think.
Yes. Man who hasn't stopped farting after eating ham roll 5 years ago sues for £200,000.
What the fuck is a ham roll?
I'm taking another dick.
I don't know what a ham roll is. A man who's, I'm assuming it's a roll of ham. A man whose life has been...
Give me a fucking paper clip, some chewed up bubble gum, and a string. I'll get whatever dildo you need out of you.
That was a misfire. I didn't mean to have that long of a clip.
A man whose life has been plagued by relentless farts since eating a ham roll is suing the stall that sold it to him for £200,000.
Ooh, is that me getting a metal rod shoved up my rectum?
The man from Chippenham, Wiltshire, was visiting a Christmas market in Birmingham with his wife and children back in 2017 when he picked up the snack. But within hours, things started to go south for the 46-year-old, who was hit by cramps, fever, vomiting, and diarrhea, with his lawyers telling High Court that he was bedridden for the next 5 weeks. His ordeal is far from over, though, and lawyer Robert Parkins said his client is sick for months with excessive flatulence, still blighting him even 5 years on. Jesus. The farts are apparently so bad that they're even affecting his sleep. Parkins said that the claimant continues to suffer from excessive flatulence, which causes him a great deal of embarrassment. The symptoms are primarily fatigue and altered bowel function associated with churning within his abdomen and flatulence. The claimant's stomach continues to make frequent churning noises to the extent his sleep can become disrupted. The extent of the symptoms have been life-changing. The unfortunate farter claims he contracted salmonella from the BAP and says market operator Frankfurt Christmas Market Ltd. should pay more than £200,000 in compensation for its negligence.
Okay.
However, the company...
I just looked up ham rolls here, right?
Uh-huh.
And the recipes that I'm finding so far, they're either an English ham, like a roll-up, or some of the stuff, the traditional ham roll is like ground pork and ham that are baked together into a deliciously sweet, sour, like tangy sauce. And I can see where either one of these could give you salmonella and could possibly affect your guts for the rest of your life, yes.
Oof. Let's see. Sorry, hold on. However, the company denies blame and claims there was no salmonella bacteria in the ham hock stall. Lawyer Parkins said a total of 16 people in 3 groups complained of similar symptoms after eating at the stall. Following an investigation by Public Health England, 2 cases of salmonella were confirmed as originating at the stall between 9 and 11 of December 2017. E. coli bacteria was found on a knife used to cut cooked meat, and an unsatisfactory level of Enterobacteriaceae, the family of bacteria containing both E. coli and salmonella, was found. This caused the stall to be closed and deep cleaned and the remaining food disposed of. The company is defending the allegations, disputing that he was infected by salmonella bacteria and also questioning the size of his claim. Its barrister, Philip Davey, said Birmingham City Council environmental health officers had attended the stall to do tests, but no salmonella was found. Only the presence of E. coli in a knife, and the man had not claimed he suffered from an E. coli infection, he said.
I don't think your defense should be, no, we had E. coli, not salmonella. That's not good.
I mean, come on, man. Who do you think you are?
Also, probably not a good idea to buy pork products from a stall or stand in
something that's called a stall. Yeah, probably not good.
The ham hock stall, probably not a good place. Don't want to get ham there.
The allegation the BAP was contaminated with salmonella bacteria is not admitted and must be proved, the lawyer says. While the claimant contends his primary injury to be alleged salmonellosis, no salmonella bacteria were isolated at the ham hock BAP stall. Accordingly, causation has been, and shall remain an issue in this case. The case went before a judge, Master Mark Gideon, at the High Court last week for a hearing to plan a future trial of the claim. Rory Baden Knock, representing the claimant, said the damages claim would be for more than £200,000 and potentially considerably more, given the ongoing effect on him. So, holy Jesus. God damn.
I've had some bad food before, but I can't imagine years and years worth of terrible, terrible gas from one fucking vendor once.
Yeah, that just seems fucking terrible.
And on that note, we're just going to end this fucking show.
Good idea.
I'm going to play the Ending
Christ.
Legion promo, and after that, we're going to come back with some music that'll fit either some really terrible gas or the movie Death Dungeon of Dr. Jekyll or whatever the fuck it was called. Who fucking cares? I'm fucking done here. We're out.
If you enjoyed this show, then make sure you check out the other great shows on the Legion Podcast Network, like Cinema Psyops, Cinema Beef, Devour the Podcast, Duncan and Bo Come Correct, Exploding Heads Horror Movie Podcast, Friday the 13th, Get Slayed, The Helming Power Hour, Hello, This is the Doom Show, Hero Hero Go Show, Kill the Cast, Underwater Kaiju from Outer Space, Jerry Hates Action, Legion After Dark, Mental Health, Obsessive Cinema, Discourse, Pick 6 Movies, the podcast by The Cemetery, the podcast on Haunted Hill, the Psychosemantic Podcast, Rick Radio, House of Wax, Dude Looks Like the 80s, Rabbit and Red Radio, the Shadecast, Short Bus Cinema, 2 Drink Minimum Commentaries, the VD Clinic, Who Will Survive Horror Podcast, and Witch vs. the Doomsday Clock. With such a wide spread of shows, there is guaranteed to be a niche for you to fall in love with. Horror, politics, movies, books, sex, music, commentaries, health, video games, kaiju, action, news, comedy, and opinions that would most likely get you killed in some parts of the world. We are proud to bring you some of the best podcasting in the world. Check us out at www.legionpodcast.com, iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, YouTube, and any other dark corner of the internet where podcasts can be found.
Oh my goodness, this is not the show that I intended to make, nor am I happy with, but this is the show that we got, and this is the show that everybody has to suffer through this week.
This is the show, folks. I'm doing it from a little section right next to my bedside, because it's the only other room I can go to right now, and Court's diseased. So this is great.
I'm coming out the other side of the disease, yes.
Yes, but you're still diseased.
In more ways than one, yeah. Well, if you'd like to find the other instances where one of us, both of us, and or all of us were working in a makeshift studio and or disease, that is all available legionpodcast.com/cinema-psyops-podcast. I can't even get that out right. Thank you very much, COVID brain. One of the places that you're
having a rough time.
One of the places that I am the most available at right now currently is the Legion Discord chat, and it is alive and kicking. There's a lot of discussion going on, and I'm trying to post the stuff that I'm watching as I'm watching it, and or participate in communication and or discussions. Most recently, we were talking about the new Chucky series, which, by the way, if you love the movies, you should check that out. Even if you just kind of like the movies, you might really love the new Chucky series.
Nice.
Yeah, just an FYI, that was one of the things that we were talking about on the Legion Discord chat. Now on to the memes and where you're going to find them. Easiest place is Instagram.
Everyone wants the memes.
Cinema_psyops on Instagram. That's where all the memes get posted. Give or take about thrice daily, depends. It might drop down a little bit, maybe to 1 or 2 a day, who knows. But all there, Cinema_psyops. And then they are immediately shared to the Facebook page, which is named Cinema Psyops. And then from the Facebook page to my main feed, Court Psyops. And then to our group on Facebook, which is Cinema Psyops. So the show is called Cinema Psyops. The Instagram is Cinema _psyops. The Facebook group is Cinema Psyops, and the Facebook page is Cinema Psyops. I'm there on Facebook as /psyops. It's really easy to find, and everything is aptly named around the show.
I mean, there's no way that there could be any confusion there.
If you are still confused and you'd like a Venn diagram explanation, I'm not going to send you one, but you could request one at cinemapsyopsport@gmail.com.
Yes, I mean, I would suggest doing that, of course.
What, you would suggest requesting or suggest that I don't respond with one?
Both. Usually, if there's a test and one of the answers is all of the above, you usually take it.
Well, while you're out there hard-filling C to try and get a test finished, kick the fuck out of this weekend, make it your bit. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now.
My USB device was fucked.
This is a cursed year, I'm telling you right now.
I don't know if I believe in that stuff. Can you start recording on your side in your new makeshift studio?
Yes, I am recording on my side. 1, 2, 3. Everything's coming through what's supposed to, I guess.
Jesus fucking Christ, man. We're not having much luck.
I'm telling you right now, I'm sitting at the side of my bed. The laptop is on my nightstand. The microphone's on my dresser. I'm in my bedroom.
It explains why it's a little bit more echoey than your other room.
Yeah, unfortunately, there's not much I can do about that.
All right, did you do the Dr. Jekyll's Dungeon of Death or whatever the fuck it's called? We at least got the notes on that.
Yes, that part is right.
Fuck it, let's just fucking do it. Here we go.
Let's hope for the best.
Here we go. My USB device died, by the way. That's what was going on. The USB thing that I was using for audio.
That's fucking ridiculous. It's a perfect drawing of Boris. So the sister is now dead due to Bortus. As Bortus is getting ready to free Julia, he cuts...
Have you been watching the Orville recently? You keep saying
Yes,
Bortus.
I have. Because I'm saying Bortus a lot. It's Boris, I know.
How much more entertaining would this film be if that was Bortus doing all this shit?
Bortus. I have now released you. And the way he talks and everything.
But all kidding aside.
Yeah, but all kidding aside.
All right, you go ahead and pull one of the news stories up.
I got stuff up.
All right, 3, 2, 1. Oh, our main man Robert and I don't have my clips up, so everybody knows what clip is supposed to be happening here, and I'll punch it in later.
Yeah. Nigerian officials intercept 7,000 smuggled donkey penises at international airport.
Oh my god, I need to get the clips up now.
Get them up. Get them up. It's all about penises.
All right, hang on.
Right.
Okay, first of all, and I'm going to get my show housekeeping up.
Jesus Christ.
I feel like we keep trying each week to make a show shorter than any other show we've had.
I know,
before.
right? To get to the shorter amounts of shows.
All right, here we go. 3, 2, 1. Well, while you're out there hard filling C to try and get a test finished, kick the fuck out of this weekend, make it your bitch. You gave me something better, so I decided to go for that there.
There you go. Jesus Christ. All right, I've stopped recording.